Hi everyone. So it is a beautiful Thursday afternoon, and I am back from a 2 week hiatus from the project, the passion project, that is. If this is your first time seeing one of my videos, my name is Juanita Michelle. I am a life coach. I am a digital marketer. I am a copywriter and editor, and free spirit. And this blog is dedicated to the experience of passion and my wish that everyone at some point in their lives, whether early on or later on, it really doesn't matter, once you discover your passion, that you would experience it and grab onto it and live it. So today is going to be a bit different. I wanted to have a candid conversation with you all about a personal decision that I made. I talked about it briefly before, but I've never gone into any detail. And I just felt led. I felt led to tell my story and to encourage someone with my story. And just to let you guys know, anything is possible. Anything is possible. There is no one way to do anything. There's no one way to live. There's no one way to experience life, So just as you listen to this video, this message today, think about the ways in which you can apply what's being said to you and make it your own. So today, hot topic of the day, we are discussing why I no longer work for Peebles Hospital, why I left. I left in October 2019. We are now in December 2020, so it's been a bit over a year. And this is a question that I've been asked a couple of times. I kind of lost count now. People just always want to know, well, why would you leave a good government job? As if that's a thing. But anyway, why would you leave a good government job and just not have another one? Because I think it's kind of obvious that I left and I didn't have another job lined up. And there was a method to my madness. So let's talk a bit about why I couldn't stay at People's Hospital where I had to go. Where I had to go, child. I had to go. First of all, I wanted green hair. I wanted to be able to dye my hair all kinds of colors. You can't do that working a corporate job. It was hell on earth, okay, at People's Hospital. It was hell on earth. I couldn't stand nobody that I worked with. It's like, no, let me stop playing. Obviously, it wasn't the best experience because I left. But as with any job, there will be hiccups. If you had asked me this question maybe 2 years ago, I probably would have had a laundry list of things to tell you about the experience of being an employee at the BVIHSA. Because it's not just People's Hospital, it's an authority, it's, community and hospital. But my post was mainly in hospital, so that's why I'm calling the video why I left People's Hospital. But as with any job, there will be challenges. And I do believe that there are more challenges at People's Hospital or BVIHSA than there are in other places. But let's just talk about the reasons why I personally, Juanita, could no longer do it. And I just made a very strong, firm decision that I am resigning and I am not turning back. Okay, so reason number one, there were obviously some systematic issues that I could no longer function with. So I will not go into too much detail about the specifics of, the things that we were expected to do in our roles. Because, well, for those of you who don't know, I was a medical social worker at Peebles. So medical social workers have some very heavy duties, responsibilities at the hospital. Let me see if I could summarize it for you because the list is very long. We more or less provide psychosocial support um, on the back end of, or sometimes even the front end of the healthcare model. So, the support that you are going to need beyond taking medication or beyond um, following a regime, it fell on us in terms of health seeking behaviors. So, we were often called upon to talk to patients or to relatives about the importance of whatever it is that they needed. Um, and we were often called upon to find out what are the difficulties that people are having, because healthcare is expensive. Healthcare is not, while it should be a priority, is not something that people typically prioritize, right? So oftentimes there are challenges that we had to sift through. And then there was the grief and loss piece. People are dying, people are losing limbs, people are being diagnosed with chronic diseases that are going to be life changing for them and their families. People are needing emergency care in the middle of the night, so on and so forth. So that was my role in a nutshell at the hospital. But there are some systematic issues in our country that I want to talk about in this video very briefly that prevented us from doing our jobs. And I tried to address them while I was there, because some people will say, well, why don't you be the solution that you're seeking? And believe you me, I was the solution, and then some. I put forth recommendations, I wrote report upon report, and I just felt within my heart of hearts that the people who needed to be ready to receive the recommendations were not and are not. So very briefly, legislation. So one of the main things that really rubbed me the wrong in the wrong way entirely about my role at the hospital was the lack of supportive legislation to do what I have to do. So children, for instance, cannot be left alone. Children are protected by the law in every way, and there are things put in place for when they are not. And, protocols that we followed, we know exactly who to call, and they come, and, but when it comes to the elderly population and even just adults, middle age, over the age of 18, there is none. The only legislation that sort of protects adults is the domestic violence legislation. So if you do not fall in that category of people who are being battered or bruised, you don't really have any protection. So your family is free to leave you in the hospital. Your family is free to not provide you with the care that you need. Your family is free to abandon you, to mistreat you, to neglect you. And I could give you horror stories, but I won't do so at the expense of, the organization or people that we have worked with. But I will say it is a serious problem. And I do not feel like our legislators and even the persons in administrative positions who have the power to affect change are as concerned as they should be. And there are other systematic issues that I feel need to be addressed that are not being addressed on that level that I just spoke of. And there's nothing that we can do on the ground without it. And so that was one of the issues that I had, and I was like, I feel insane. I feel like I'm crazy, because we're coming here every day being asked to do the same goddamn thing over and over and over with the same tools we lacked yesterday. All right, so systematic Peebles Hospital issues out of the way. Let's talk about why I feel like I needed to go. And for me, it came down to ability, quality of life, and purpose. When I think, it got to a point where I sat down and I was like, when I think of what I am capable of and all the gifts that I have, the talents that I have, I feel like I am wasting them. And I feel that is an abomination to the Creator. And if I am coming to work every single day and managing this job that is so demanding, why can't I manage my own enterprise? So that was number one. quality of life. I was very unhappy. I was very unhappy. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. There is no way to sugarcoat it. The job, the environment is very heavy when you work in that place. I imagine it's the same in any hospital, but it's special in Peebles Hospital. So you get up and you go every day. You psych yourself up, you prepare yourself, and then you get there, and it's like you're dealing with the same crap every single day. And there's not much you could do about it besides press along. And there's only so much pressing along you could do before you feel like, what am I doing? You know? There's one thing to find the silver lining once in a while, but if you have to spend your entire day, every single day looking for the silver lining gone. It disappear. A day. Okay? It's gone. It's black. And apart from being unhappy, I was very tired all the time, and I was not well physically. My body started to do things that, I just didn't understand. And, it's funny that since I'm not there anymore, I don't have those issues. The role that I had at Peebles Hospital was a very demanding role, time consuming, up all hours of the night, dealing with emergency situations, dealing with death, dealing with chronic illness, dealing with people's social and psychological issues, which to me are even heavier than the medical issues at times, and supersede the medical problems. So I feel that the role that I had, and all the social workers at the hospital have, is a very heavy role. And although it was rewarding, it was also laborious and burdensome, and I was tired. Because I'm the type of person, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it well. So I would go the extra mile, and then another mile, and then some, every single time with every single client that I dealt with, every single patient. So there was never a shortcut for me, and I was always tired. So quality of life, I just decided I needed a better quality of life. I needed to spend each day doing things doing things I really want to do and feeling better than I feel. Right? And then purpose. Why am I here? And when I say here on earth, why am I here? This feeling that I get every morning, like, oh, I got to go to work. Why? I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it. When I really sat down and I thought, y'all, about, when I really sat down and I thought about it, I was like, God did not put me on the earth to be miserable. That don't make no sense. God did not put me on the earth to wake up every day dreading to go wherever it is I'm going. God did not put me on the earth to be unsure, unhappy, misguided, drained. And while I am trying my best to serve others, how much service can I be? How much service can I be if I am always drained myself? You cannot pour from an empty vessel. So why am I here on earth? And that's the question I asked myself. And when I realized that this ain't it, this is not it. I don't care how much you want to talk about service to country. I don't care how much you want to talk about patriotism and, this is your home, so you should be the solution. You should be a part of the solution. As I said, I have been a part of the solution for 7 years. And in the 7 years that I was there, by golly, I'm still waiting. So I'm still waiting for the right people to come along and jump on board the change. And I have a feeling we're going to be waiting for a minute. You know why? Because our primary focus here in the BVI, and I'm speaking very candidly today, I'm not mincing words like I normally would in these politically correct videos. Our primary focus is financial services and tourism. The social fabric of the country is not a priority. And that is coming from someone that has worked in the system. in a very involved role. I've been to people's houses, okay? I have been to people's homes. I am involved in their day-to-day affairs. And the conditions that people on this island are living in, you guys would never believe if I showed you or told you. You would be in disbelief, utter disbelief. But anyway, I'm going off target. Nevertheless, those are the reasons why I had to leave. I have all these talents, all these gifts. I mean, some people don't even know I could hold a tune. People had no idea I started this business precision when I left. Some people had no idea I could write. And I'm like a creative writer. Like all these things that these gifts that I just been sitting on, that I had buried in the sand. I just decided, it's time. I don't have a husband. I don't have children. I don't have children. It's time. I want to see the world. I mean, the BVI is a beautiful place. Don't get me wrong. But this ain't it. This is not it. But I will tell you why I'm glad I stayed as long as I did. I stayed as long as I did because no experience goes to waste. Well, first of all, I had a bond with the government. But aside from the bond, no experience goes to waste. Because since I have all this experience now in health and wellness and all this extensive knowledge that I did not have prior to working at Peebles Hospital or BVIHSA, and it's not just knowledge, it's practical knowledge I can now put into my own practice at GMO with my coaching clients. And, I just want to be able to give you guys those gems that I now have. And had I not stayed there, I would not have that. So I am very glad for the experience. I am very glad for the relationships that I built with some persons at Peebles Hospital. Not everyone, obviously, you get along with. It's an organization of 600 plus people. BVIHSA is probably one of the biggest ones in the country. But I've met so many people, in my dealings, locals, visitors alike. Heck, I even met some celebrities while working at Peebles Hospital. And the experience was very rich. It was a struggle, but it was very rich, and it built me up to be the person that I am now. I would not be who I am if I had not worked at Peebles Hospital. That's a fact. And you know what? They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Healthcare is not for the weak. And child, if you can work at Peebles, you can work any place. Any place. Trust me when I tell you. So if you are in a position where you're at a job, any situation that you find yourself in where you don't feel like you're in the right place, you don't feel fulfilled, you're not meeting your goals in life, you're falling short, you don't feel well, I want to submit to you that it's very important to know when to walk away, to move on from a job, from a relationship, from a friendship, from an offer, a proposition, a proposal, and I knew it was time to move on when I realized I was going nowhere fast. And not even just about me as an individual, but when you look around you and you don't see progress happening as you feel it should happen, it's like, where are we going? Nowhere. I don't intend to continue going nowhere for very long. You understand? So be careful. I understand that some of you may say you want to serve your country, and I applaud you for that. I respect you for that. But be very careful not to stifle your own potential. If you don't see any room for growth, if you do not see any room for expansion or elevation to your highest intention in life, move on. Because when we cease to grow, we die. When we cease to grow, we die. And by that I mean there is a difference between existing and living, which I'm sure you've heard a million times by now. You can exist and be here. We know who you are, we know where to find you, but you are not living. My tagline for Juanita Michelle Online is Now You're Living. And my tagline for Juanita Michelle Now Online, Now You're Living, is such that once you've encountered us, our service and my teachings and my coaching, that you can walk away and I could look at you and I could say, now you're living. I want you to live. All right. So I have an article on my site, on my blog, about the steps that you can take to determine if it's time to go from a job, that is, and how you go about doing it. I don't exactly teach the skydive route that I took, because I in fact took a plunge. I jumped out of the plane, no parachute, no nothing. I literally left Peebles Hospital. Okay, let me not say I just left with no plan, but I decided, you know what, I'm not doing anything when I leave. I'm going to take a vacation, which I did, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything for at least a month. And that is exactly what I did. I did nothing. I didn't look for jobs. I didn't do nothing. I just took the time to enjoy waking up at any time and doing as I please for a month. And it was not just about relaxation. For me, I feel like I've been ripping and running my whole life. I've been either in school or on my way to school, in a job, on my way to another role. I've never really taken the time. Most of us have never taken the time to just sit with our thoughts and allow the universe to help us, allow God to speak to us. You know, it's in the stillness that you get the most inspiration, and that is a fact. It's why I practice meditation in the mornings and sometimes in the night. It's why I enjoy living alone. It's why I try my best to drive home to my coaches and anybody that I'm interacting with that you should focus on your breath, because focusing on your life source and not anything else is a very great tool to receiving whatever messages are out there for you to receive. So the fact of the matter is, I didn't have a grand master plan. I did not. And the master plan came to me as time progressed. It came to me in pieces and parts. I thought precision was it. Believe it. It's so funny now thinking about it, but I thought precision was it. I thought precision was going to be my one and only baby, and I'm going to just grow her or him, whatever. But now we see, I talk about this a little more on my page. You know, you guys can reference juanitamichelle.com. There's a lot of good information on that site. Read my story to know more about how I got to where I am now with Juanita Michelle Online. But I say all that to say, I don't necessarily recommend the the skydive route, but I do highly recommend that you take some time to reflect on where you are in your life. You need to be very intentional. You need to be very intentional about what it is you're doing and the direction that you're going in, because life will just happen to you if you don't make it happen. I keep saying this and I keep preaching it. And what was happening to me is that I was just allowing life to happen. And the minute I set intentions for myself, things unravel. One of the hardest parts of the decision was leaving behind a monthly salary that was pretty generous. I was paid well as a social worker. So one of the hardest parts of that decision was deciding to no longer receive a paycheck. And I owe it to good planning, great parenting from my parents, who taught me how to do without, and who taught me the value of saving for a rainy day, or in my case, for a skydive. Someone else who doesn't have any safety net, there's no way you could do what I did. So I don't necessarily teach that method that I took, because I had the ability to do what I did. But it's been amazing, even though it's scary, even though there are some things about this journey that have made me so frustrated that I had to cry, that I've broken down maybe 3 or 4 times already within the past year. I just had a mental breakdown. Like, where you feel like you're all alone and nobody knows and nobody understands, and the people who you expect to reach out to you don't, and the people who you expect help from leave you hanging. But then the part about it that makes it so worth it is the lifestyle, the quality of life that I have now is so much better. I don't have an alarm waking me up every day. I get to plan using my own schedule. I get to use my talents. Like, I get to be creative in the work that I do because it's my enterprise. I get to make business relationships with people. Right now, in the position that I'm in, I can work from anywhere in the world. It took time. It took time, and it's not finished. I am still a work in progress. These 2 business ventures that I now have are still a work in progress. But I'm saying all this to let you know that even though it's gonna be hard, and I don't want anybody to tell you, I don't want nobody to fool you into thinking that you're gonna just go for it and it's gonna just be uphill. No, that's not how it works. There will be bumps, there will be bruises, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna be disappointed sometimes, but as long as you're staying true to yourself and you are living for purpose and not a paycheck or a position, I really feel and I believe, and I have evidenced it in my own self, with the happiness that I now feel and the peace that I now have, and the relationships that I enjoy as a result of my new role, that it's worth it. And so be encouraged by my story and share this story with someone that you know may need to hear it. And if you have questions about the story, feel free to send me a message on JMO or even to Juanita Michelle if we're friends on Facebook. Comment on the YouTube video and, let's talk about it. What is holding you back? What are you afraid of? Do you not know you're capable? Do you not know you're powerful beyond measure? Like, you can do it. Like I said, you will have hard times, but tough times don't last. Only tough people. So, if you're in a relationship where you're feeling purposeless and you're feeling like you're at a dead end or you're stuck, just take time to sit with your thoughts. Have discussions with people who have been where you are. You can call me. I have free discovery calls. They last for a half an hour. If you want to talk about an experience that you're having right now and with feeling stuck and you need some inspiration or you need some direction, I'm more than happy to help. And then, we could go from there. Of course, there's more at JMO that you can benefit from in terms of support and a strong plan. So that was my story. I know y'all wanted some scandal, but that's not my style. It's not necessary. Yeah, so that's why I left. This is where I'm going, and I'm taking you guys along with me. This has been another episode in the Passion Project. Be intentional. Don't worry about what anybody else gonna say or think. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. I'll be back week after next with another dose of pure passion. Bye.